Oh, did it go? This one's working. Are you working?
No.
Yes, no?
Yes and no.
Yes, and yes. Excellent.
Oh. All right, well. Where's that? Ah.
Hello? 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 That's better. There we go. Okay, well, thank you for having us. Looking forward to another resident presentation. We brought another new face, new to some of you, not all of you. I think some of you have met Lance over here. So let's get going with it. So obviously that's what the campus is going to look like when we get done, or at least a rendering. And that is what it looks like right now. That drone shot was taken on the 29th of December, so a week ago or so. Making great progress. We have a time-lapse video I don't have that shows the garage. So from the time we started digging the hole up through where the hole's covered, pretty interesting. And
we'll be able to share that next month, right? The time lapse.
It's on a Sundt only access page right now, so I got to get it off there.
So we got to get some computer people.
Yeah,
that are
I got to
smart
get some
to help us out.
Yeah, understand how to do that. But yeah, we'll be able to share that next month. But yeah, making great progress. We're in every building right now, averaging what, about 130 guys?
Correct.
About 130 workers a day. So really getting after it. So our agenda for today, it's the normal agenda. We're going to start with safety, then we'll do a project overview, do some photos, talk about what's upcoming, and obviously answer any questions. And as usual, if you have any questions, just raise your hand and shout them out, throw something at us. We're happy to answer any and all questions that you guys have. All right, so our safety share, I asked Lance, this is Lance Bemis, and I'll let him introduce himself, but I asked him to attend, and he actually volunteered because he was super excited to come talk to everybody, and he's going to introduce himself and do our safety share for today.
Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me? Mic working? Okay. Safety share, what I thought of is most thing that we got going on right now is we're going vertical. Handrail, safety rail, everything is one of our main concerns. Just besides the building, the openings and everything, we got a lot of scaffolding going on with Stucco. Got a lot of handrail on all that, which is constantly high maintenance because our guys they think nothing's in the way with them, but it's a full-time job just keeping up with that handrail and making sure it's safe for these guys. They need to withstand 200 pounds of force with somebody leaning up against it. So just you're putting a piece of plywood up there, a strip, that doesn't work. You need at least a 2x4 up there, and it's got to be mounted to something solid that'll hold up to it. 42 and 21 is the heights that we got to keep them at. And if you look down there at the bottom of them, that's called the toe board around the bottom. It's like wherever you got people working underneath, coming through your scaffolding or your openings in there, we require having that toe board up there so stuff doesn't roll off that scaffold, falls on that person walking underneath there. So it's just, I got a full-time carpenter laborer out there, Jimmy out there, that he's constantly maintaining the handrail, barricades. So he's got a full-time job, definitely keeping up with all that.
Yeah, if you think about, so we're framing and we're adding on to new structures all the time, vertically and horizontally. So where you need handrail changes every day, just about, right? So when Lance says it's a full-time job, it's a full-time job. Lance is one of our superintendents out there, and like you say, he's got a carpenter out there, and they're checking that every day. And it's not just sort of our wood handrail. There's scaffolding as well, as you guys have seen. Lance, talk about maybe that tag in the middle and kind of what happens there.
When we got SPG out here doing our stucco work right now, and they're basically putting all the scaffold up around the building. The masons recreate also has it too. When that is usually red when they're building that. So when our guys see that red tag on the scaffold, that means stay off it. It's not been checked out for them to use yet. And when the erector gets all done and he walks it, he checks it, toe boards, braces, X-bracing, handrails, everything on that thing to make sure it's good to go. Then he'll change it to green and he'll put a date on it so people know when it was good. Another thing that we like to do if we get other trades working on their scaffold, the foreman needs to walk that scaffold and make sure it's safe for his guys to get up there and work on that. So because a lot of times the masons or the stucco guys aren't using it then. So if an electrician gets up there, he needs to walk that thing and check it before he puts his crew up there on it. So a lot of eyes on it to make sure it's all there, because it, believe me, these guys, they destroy it as fast as we built it. So it's full time for people.
Yeah.
Got to keep their eye on it, making sure it's safe.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you see people that are, if you're ever going by the site and you see people and it looks like they're sort of climbing all over it, hanging all over it, there are people that specifically are there to erect and dismantle the scaffold, right? Because they have to do that and they're not protected by rail or anything. So they're professionals at being able to do that and do it safely.
That's when the red's up on that sign when they're building it.
All right, the other thing I asked Lance to do was talk about why he works safe, right? That's something that we've talked about a lot at Sundt. We all have a purpose of going home to something every day and why we work safe every day. And so I asked Lance to talk about that a little bit.
Well, I did send in one of the most important, my wife, my grandkids, and my kids. That's one of the main things to work safe for, family life. Also enjoy just the outdoors. Hiking, hunting, fishing, any chance I can get away from here. I'd like to be fishing or just out in the woods or in the desert. This time of year is beautiful. So just being able to move around and just enjoy life.
All right, thank you, Lance. Lance has been at Sundt for
18 years?
Yeah, I was gonna say going on 20, getting close to 20 years now, and he's a great asset to our team. He's been here basically since day one with Todd and I, so we're lucky to have him.
Thank you.
All right, so let's talk about a project update. First, a fun fact about the project: trees, right? We're going to get a lot of them. There's 20 different species of trees that are going to be on this project. I picked a picture of a tree with a golf cart because I know a lot of folks in here like to enjoy that activity. But it's as we get to finishing out buildings and areas of the project, you're going to start to see landscaping, plants, the final trees, and whatnot. So I thought it'd be something maybe everybody would be interested in. And we've got sisus and we've got oaks and we've got various trees that are going to be going in as part of Inspirata Pointe. All right, we'll start with the drone video, and then, as usual, Todd, I'll stop it whenever you
Perfect.
you would like me to stop it.
Yeah, Lance is mostly my right and sometimes my left hand also out there. So I get stuck in meetings and in the office updating the schedule, and Lance is my number one go-to guy out there in the field. So I know a lot of you residents happen to see him walking across, when you guys are walking by the fence and say hi to him, and that makes his day. So don't stop doing that, please.
No,
That makes all of our day. We like when you guys come talk to us. All right, here's a view from the south face of building A2. We're between A1 and A2, and then if you want to go ahead and stop it right here.
Oops.
Oh, no.
Well, that's not what we were trying to do.
No, you'd think after like
didn't
8
work
months
out
of this
at
stuff,
all.
we'd be pretty good at it. All right, so you can see we've got the mechanical unit set up on the roof. The screen walls are framed. They'll be getting enclosed this week. This is the south face of A1. If we could stop here, maybe. Oh, well done. So we've got the finish, stucco finish on the building. You can see that the south face of the scaffold is down. The garages, they're currently being we're installing roofing systems.
Dried in now.
So we got the roof on them. Garage doors are coming. They told us the 9th of February. We'll see if they're honest. But starting tomorrow, Lance is getting all geared up for getting the painters on the exterior side of the building. So we'll start turning the gray to white. We're going to prime it first, a couple coats of primer on there, and then we'll go to finish paint, which is China white. So some things that'll be, let's see, you can see we've got these little sticks down here along the bottom. Doot, doot, doot. All these little guys here, they look like just debris, but they're actually engineering layout for us. So our dirt work crews go, and that's their to-do list. That's their task right there. That's their job, is to read those stakes and find out what the grading needs to happen. So
The stakes and the sleeving underneath the driveways for the landscape.
Yep. So it was a good intro on how many species of trees we have, because we have to get irrigation lines from one side of the driveway to the other. So the last week of last year, we went ahead and put that sleeving across those driveways. So the landscaper's starting to get geared up, and we're gearing up for the process of selecting trees here soon. So good finish activities going on. One thing that you can't really see too well, we've started just about done with the masonry portion of the screen wall that's on the north side of the villas. So that's between the villas and Royal Oak Road. So that work is just about complete as far as the masonry goes. And then there's 3 feet of wrought iron fencing that's been fabricated and is ready to get shipped out. We'll start putting that in the middle of the month. So we're getting some more finished security around the outside portion of the project. And as Sean continues, you'll be able to see that. Here we go. You want to pause here real quick? The drone guy chopped out a couple of seconds of footage, but this is the west elevation of Building C. So we're up through 3rd floor. I don't know if anybody happened to drive by the job site today. We put a little flag in there that says we're here. It's called a crane. We're flying roof trusses up there today, and by the middle of January, we should be having roofing crews over there starting to put our roofing system on. So that's good progress. Inside the buildings, the drone images don't necessarily get inside the structures, but we've been going through and roughing in electrical, plumbing, HVAC work, and then fire sprinkler lines have been happening.
You'll see a couple pictures later on of inside
okay.
there.
Perfect. All right. You can see we don't have any dust on site. This is mostly due to the heavy rains we had last week and all the dust control we had. This is between building, this is actually a really good look at the inside dog leg of Building D. So you've got stair shaft, elevator, and Building D here. Building D 1st floor, and this is going to be going into production as far as fabricating the walls here in the next week. So the production shop is busy building walls for 2nd and 3rd floor of Building B. And the truss shop is busy cranking away on getting trusses for not only Building B over here to the left, but also Building E in the back. All right, so this is just a direct fly right over Building D. And as you can see, if you want to pause here, we're approaching the ramp to the parking garage. So again, we've got elevator and stair shaft, Building D, Building E back here, and then the most important building that we're starting is the bar. So that's coming online here soon. We've got a meeting after this to discuss the sequence of structure erection. Yes, sir. The question was, do all the elevators go in the garage? Not all of the elevators go in the garage. There's one for Building D, which happens to be this one here. There's one for back of house service for Building F, and there is 2 more elevators, B and C. Those do go down to the basement. So there's for accessibility for residents, there will be 3 elevators that will take you to the basement, to the garage. Thank you. All right. We've got this area on the left, that yellow, that's going to be our concrete placement at 3 a.m. tomorrow. Sorry. But we got concrete, so that's a good thing, right? So, and that's the stair and elevator that goes from the food service building down to the garage, to the storage area. We actually have some more elevators coming in the 2nd month. year. This happens to be building D. This is you're actually seeing people walk on the fourth floor. That is some of the temporary protection we put down for rain. That did work. It actually kind of created a bathtub in the hallway so we could broom it off. So that worked. Our plan was successful. We like it when we make plans and they actually come to fruition.
Yeah, you'll see a picture later on of why we did that, where we show drywall being able to be installed on the lower levels in that corridor, because of that right there.
All right, so if you want to stop there real quick, you can start to see about 4 weeks ago, we had a crane out here. We were actually setting all the structural steel stairs in that building. So that we got a couple iron workers in there doing finish welding, getting that turned over to us so that we can have our second form of vertical escalation to get up in that building for our construction operations. And that'll end up being permanent stairs inside the building. So the question is what building is that? This is building D. So building D kind of runs this way, this direction, and then back behind Sean. Building E would be this one right here. Yep, so we're up through the third floor framing on building E right now.
Keep them questions coming. You got him dancing up there. You see that?
Yeah.
Yes, this is building E. Yep. There's a stair tower there at the end, and then again off to the left-hand side is the kind of leftish center this is the ramp down to the garage, and then this is building F.
You can see, we've talked in the past about some of the prefab of walls and things that we've done. You can see, they're framing up this level. You can see they've got some walls built and just laying flat. And those guys, they stand them up, brace them, and then
Yeah.
fill in around it.
There's a good action shot of 4 guys here that are actually carrying a wall
Yes.
panel.
Yep.
All right, there's the south cul-de-sac. Yep, so we're, remember me telling you last month that I was waiting on the utility provider to give us a drawing? Still waiting. So we can't finish our chlorination of the loop. We've got some more components in, but we don't have 100% sign off from them yet. So I know folks were curious about when we're going to get that south cul-de-sac buttoned up. Trust us, like I said last month, we'd really like to do it. We're being impacted by the water utility company. They've got the drawing. They've made some corrections to it. We've revised the corrections and sent it back in, and all we're waiting for is their stamp. But I don't know why that stamp has taken so long. But once we get that, we've got about 2 weeks worth of work between a couple days of the tie-in, or a night of the tie-in, and then we've got a chlorination of the process system line that goes almost 2/3 of the way around campus. So
That's why I said some of you have met Lance. It's because Lance has largely been chasing around a lot of our utilities. So he's been interacting and trying to make sure we're as least impactful as possible in all these utility tie-ins.
you see Lance out in the field. This is his position quite a bit because he spends a lot of time looking down in the ditch and making sure stuff is right.
Or new stuff you find.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, this is building B that we're flying over, and we're backing away from building C. So we've got the second floor trusses on building B. Walls are in production and headed out here soon. We've got a lot of structural steel for both buildings D and D1. So we've had to set some columns already, and then over the next couple weeks, you'll start seeing all the installation of the structural steel for building D. And what else have you been doing in the middle of campus, Lance?
One thing that you'll see after this Saturday, A2, where the white building is to the right-hand part of the screen, the Stucco guys are going to be there full bore, so they're going to be turning that gray. So that's going to drastically change next week. So all the foam will get covered up, all the inspections are taken care of, so they can start Stucco in that A2 building.
Yeah, perfect. On the right-hand side, you can see we've started some curb and gutter. Over here, we got curb formed up. We're actually pouring this
Right now.
So we've got dirt work guys are in here grading. We got We lost an entire week last week because of the rain. It was so wet. We even spent some time. I was even on the tractor trying to help dry out some of the dirt to see if we could make some progress, and I was spinning my wheels, literally. All right, so in the middle of campus, you can see we got a lot of structural steel sitting here. And then we didn't pan over far enough, but we do have lots of material hanging out off-site, lots of roofing material, which is good, so we can start getting our roofing systems put on once we finish the trusses and the roof decking. But
We do have that here.
yeah, so, and then this is the portion of the concrete that we're going to place at 3 a.m. tomorrow. This is our last early ugly morning concrete placement. So we'll have maybe a couple at 5 a.m., which aren't nearly as bad as the ones at 3 or midnight. So for all of you that get impacted and hear us, I'm truly sorry, but I'm glad we're at this point where I can comfortably say we're putting this all behind us. So thanks for your patience and understanding. We don't like to do it. We don't like getting up in the middle of the night either, but we have to. But it's almost done. So thank you very much for your understanding.
So we actually have the drone going inside the garage this month. So you'll get your first look at inside the garage here in a second.
Yeah, the drone pilot came out and said, what more can we do that's kind of cool? And I said, well, when we give these resident presentations, a lot of residents would like to see what the garage looks like. So this is what it looks like. There's Dean on the left. He's our drone pilot, and he's able to fly on in here. You can see we've got all kinds of mechanical, electrical stuff in here. We got a sprinkler pipe, both mains and secondaries going in. We've got a lot of conduit, which would feed our lighting system down there. We've got a handful of masons down there laying up the block walls that create the back of house spaces. Those back of house spaces are storage for underneath food service, as well as mechanical spaces for water softeners and water and boilers as well. So lots of activities down there. It's also being used as a partial dry storage area. I'm sure one of the questions may pop up: did the garage get wet when it rained last week? It didn't. Right? Isn't that awesome? Yeah. So everything's working the way it should be.
It only got about 4 or 5 feet in, past that big trench drain at the ramp. That's it.
And that's because we still had a little bit of dirt in the trench drain, but we dug the dirt out. That was from some of our real bad previous rains. So, and then Lance went and made sure we had a big rain in July that was pretty brutal on us, and it pushed a lot of dirt down the ramp. So Lance went in there and pressure washed out the water lines, and everything is working like a champ.
I sit here and I watch this right here, and it just came to, he's flying over, but nobody out there working even sees that thing come over your head. It's so quiet. I'm just sitting there in amaze at everything he's covered, and nobody sees that drone flying over.
Yep. So there's this forklift that's moving a pallet that used to carry wall forms on, or actually wall panels on there. So, and that's where, you can see some guys that are stacking wall panels on the 3rd floor of building E. Yeah, this drone pilot's pretty impressive. He likes to do cool stuff, so he's always open for new ideas. So anyway, yeah, you can see some of the muddy site conditions we had. We've spent a bunch of time last week dragging them out. Thank goodness we didn't get much rain over the weekend, so we were able to go back to full production almost full production on Monday, and by Tuesday we were completely up and running. So anyhow, that's what the center campus looks like. Lance is actually starting to go through there with some of the underground utilities. We've got some storm drain work that he's putting in this week. That's kind of digging through those areas, but we're getting more drainage and stuff put together, so we're going to keep our stuff dry. You want to pause there, please? On the south side here, so this happens to be Villa A2 down here in the bottom corner. For those on this side, I'm sorry. But you can see we've got, islands formed up and curb going in. So you're starting to see the shape of the form of roads and stuff. So we've got curb cuts. And so this will be parking spaces that'll be part of phase 2 parking. Phase 1, we're going to have once phase 1 is complete, which is the villas, we'll take the site fence that's out on Royal Oaks Road, and we'll move it to this side of the paved surface here, which would be the North Road. And that will allow everybody that lives in building A1 and A2 to have access through here. and we'll just basically move our security fence to the south and be able to keep working from there. Nice job, drone
That's it.
man.
Thank you. I'd like to take credit, but I didn't fly it at all.
Yeah, you push the buttons.
Push the buttons. That's right.
That's what he does.
That's right. So, any questions? We've got some photos, but let's take some questions.
So what the question is how do we stand on the north cul-de-sac and what are we doing over there? So part of our work that we were doing right before Christmas was going through and cutting the subgrade down and getting everything ready for paving, which is part of Lance's wheelhouse. So do you want to keep telling us, tell everybody what we're doing out there now?
Yeah, now that it's dried out, we got see the big grade pieces of equipment. They got a grader out there today. They'll start cutting that road from that north roundabout there, cutting that in so we can get the curbing in there and getting it prepped for the AB and everything for paving, which I'm thinking it's the first couple weeks of February, somewhere right in that window area.
Yeah, we're trying to lock in a date from our paving, from the plant itself, the batch plant. They're really tough right now. So yeah, we might have some aggregate base down there, so it's good, firm, solid road by then. But I haven't confirmed that. That's what we'd like to do. But we're, like Lance said, we're cutting all the grading so we can put the curb and gutter in and get things ready. So, and we also have the landscapers that'll go through there and start putting all their trenches and stuff in. So that's kind of what's happening towards that north cul-de-sac area. Don. Perfect. So the question was, will the dining facilities known as Building F, the fun building, the bar, will that be ready when Inspirata Pointe opens up phase 1 and phase 2 for the villas? The answer is no, it will not. So those 16 villa homes will not be using Inspirata Pointe dining until after the 18th of November of this year. So building D is part of our phase 2 building F, we know it as building D, excuse me. Building F, the food and fun building, along with B and C, are our next deliverable package, which are opening the 18th of November this year. And that's where you guys will be able to enjoy that dining experience at that point in time.
Not the villas.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So the question was, will the people moving into the apartment style units be able to be moving in at the same time as the amenity restaurant building that's part of Inspirata Pointe? And the answer to that is yes for these two buildings. So the 3-story structure, which you guys know as B and C, opens at the same time as the restaurant and building F, all the amenities. So the villas open first, then the 3-story and building F, and then the 4-story buildings.
Excellent. Yes, sir.
Yes.
It's right here.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's part of the kitchen and the dining area. That's part of building F. Yep. So it took so long for us to get there because we had a lot of underground plumbing work to do in those areas. Yes, sir.
There is electrical outlets on the patios. The smaller ones, I believe, have one. The
corner
bigger
units.
patios,
Corner
I bet-
units.
Yeah, they have two. Yeah. Yep.
No problem. Boy, that's a good. The question is will the other patio apartments have outlets on them as well? And I don't recall offhand. We'll have to do some digging. We're doing some of the rough in right now, but we haven't, I think, been roughing it on the patios yet. So I can't confirm if I've seen
That's
it. You,
good question. Now you got me thinking. But
Well-
I'd almost sure they do, but I need to verify that. Yeah.
the plan show one? I would bet they're there, my guess. My hunch is, but I'm not going to pull a fib and confirm without knowing for sure. Yes, ma'am. What is the future status of the South Cul-De-Sac? So the South Cul-De-Sac is over here on the left-hand side. That's the one that we've been waiting for the design team to, or actually the utility company to provide us an approved sketch for some balance of some work. We've been waiting for 2 months for that sketch. So last time we updated you folks, I thought I was going to have the answer in the month of December, but apparently they took the whole month off instead of just the week between Christmas and New Year's. So I'm still back to square one of waiting for them. So I can't give you an answer because I don't know when they're going to give me a drawing. So the question is will the island remain there or will it go away? The answer is half of the island will stay. So yes to both. Yes, half of it goes away and half of the island stays. So it gets a little modified just so that that was prescribed by the fire department so that they had enough room to get their trucks in. They needed so much turning space, and cutting that island in half is what they requested. So we've got a little bit of work to do up in that cul-de-sac, but not nearly as much as the north one. South side goes away. Yep.
I was going to say, Todd, you can maybe see it a little bit better on
Oh, yeah,
this one
perfect.
if you want.
Yeah, cool. That's great. Thanks. So here, this way goes away. They got to be able to. Fire trucks have to be able to make that swing through here. So the north half of the center donut of the cul-de-sac will stay. All right. What do we got for next? Photos.
All right. So photos, we're going to go sort of building by building, starting with the villas. So this first slide is A1. So you can see where we're at on the interiors. We're swinging doors. We're getting ready to paint, put in cabinetry and flooring. So they're right at the finished stage.
The showers are tiled.
Yep. So that's a tiled shower right there. It's all white with white grout, so it's a little bit hard to see. But windows are in, doors are in. You can see all the textures on the wall. So we're really getting to the finish out stage for Villa A1.
Yeah, we've got 2 crews of painters that are starting tomorrow. We have an interior and an exterior crew. So we're going to start painting the outside stucco tomorrow, as well as start painting
Priming the inside.
priming the first floor, and then moving on to the second floor of building A1. So I know this picture is a little rough. I can 1,000% guarantee you it looks really nice inside there. This picture is really proving that we build buildings and not professional photographers. So forgive us, but it's in there. It's done. And it looks really nice. The outside, China white is what it's called. So it is, I don't know what makes it different than any other color white, but I can tell you that it's white. So the ceilings, I think you'll be able to see here in a little bit. Did we take a picture of the ceilings?
We didn't get one of the
So
breezeway ceilings.
down the breezeways of the villas, both first and second floor, we've gone ahead and put the synthetic finish on, and that's the white. It's actually a really sharp looking color.
That's what I was gonna say. It's nice. It's like a white that's it's clean, but it's not super bright.
It's not blinding.
It's a good color.
The question is for those that are moving into the villas, when they will be able to get into them. Sean and I need to sit through and talk through that. We're working through some site work operations right now, so I don't have a date for you yet, but we'll get Gretchen involved and see if we can make it a safe date for everybody to come on in.
Yeah, you can see obviously, we're knee deep, pardon the pun with the rain, but we're knee deep in doing, prepping for driveways and curbs and landscaping and all that stuff. So it's there's a lot of trip hazards going on walking around those villas right now.
Yeah, you can see like this picture here, we've got the trenchers. We got a trencher right here. That's the guys that have been putting in the pathways for the landscape sleeving.
Landscape sleeving. The other one is for your electrical site lighting,
Yeah, pole lights and foot candle lights and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
light
so
bollards, and
Mm-hmm.
we're doing lots there's lots of landmines around there that are trip hazards and stuff. So, but there's lots of work happening all over the place. It's just it shows this image looks pretty
Yeah.
still and boring, but we've got lots of stuff going on.
So Lance alluded to stucco being over the next week on A2. So I'm going to show you a picture of A2 next. And what I want you to keep in mind is that it's about to look just like this one, right? That's what he meant by turning gray. It's A2 is prepped. It's got the foam on. It's got the chicken wire. It's scaffolded. It's ready to turn gray.
Project on completion. We'll get to that in just a minute. We got that slide here coming up in just a minute. So yeah, as Lance was talking about the trenching, you can see we've got the trenches going across for all the sleeving, and that's we've got the mixers back over here. We're getting the stucco pre-mix manufactured specification stuff is getting delivered today. So we've got a bunch of bags.
I got a truck coming in with 10, those great big white bags are about 500 pounds apiece, 10 of them for the next 3 days. So it'll be stocked up, ready to go for Saturday.
Yeah, so one of the things that, or the two things I wanted to point out is one is we've been talking a lot about curb and the rain, and obviously we can't do anything until we can get heavy equipment on the site. And for at least in Maricopa County, we can't get heavy on equipment on the site until we don't track mud out of the site, right? So we have to be dry enough to where we don't get muddy tires that then leave the job. So that's really what held us up. But now that we're going again with heavy equipment, you'll see them place curb and things like that in 150, 200 feet at a time, right? So it goes pretty quick, but without the grading and the ability to grade, that really slowed that down a little bit. But we're back up and running, and like Lance said, doing light pole bases and getting ready for driveways and all that sort of thing on the north end. And then the other thing I was going to point out was in A1, you can see we've got doors and tile and texture and the finish coat of the stucco. A2 is not far behind. You can see this is a shot in a unit of A2 where it's drywalled. It's got what they call corner bead on the corners to make a nice sharp 90-degree corner. And basically it's getting ready for getting its finish coat and then getting the tape and texture in the doors on
Yeah,
there.
this happens to be first floor. Second floor, we're texturing tomorrow. So it's going to look a lot like A1. So things are catching up.
Yeah, the other thing to notice too is, we have a lot of hard lid ceilings in these units. So your mechanical, your electrical, your plumbing, all that stuff is in and done and ready to go, so that we can cover it with the drywall ceiling. So it's progressed quite nicely. So those are the two villas. I don't know if there's any questions on those specifically before we show you some shots of inside B and the other buildings. All right.
All right. So this is what it looks like before we put all the beautiful drywall on. Pretty exciting, isn't it? So you can see these happen to be some of the bathrooms. This is the plumbing lines. Those are all the white sticks that stuck out of the concrete for a while. And then you can see this happens to be, a kitchen or a living room? Kitchen, because there's a
That's an island in their kitchen, yeah.
Yep.
So that's what some of the framing looks like inside. So I know the drone never flies inside there, but we actually are doing stuff in there. Up in the ceilings, you can see we've got water line coiled up here. We've got duct work going in. We started installing electrical boxes for light switches and receptacles and things of that sort. So
Yep. And you can,
fire alarm boxes and low
Fire
voltage
sprinklers.
controls, fire sprinkler, thermostat locations are getting put in. So lots of rough-in work is happening in these buildings.
Yep. You can see here's some more mechanical lines, and if you could read this, you probably can't, but that says grab bar, right? So that's getting in all the backing for all the whether it's mirrors, grab bars, all that sort of stuff is going on.
All right. So this happens to be building D. Looks like first floor here. Again, you can see we're a little bit further along. We've got a lot more water lines that ran out straight and attached to the structure. The ductwork is in horizontally in the drops. We're just waiting for a secondary wall to come in. You can see this is the entrance door from the corridor to the unit. So the corridor is plywooded. We've gone ahead and started doing some of our plywood or our sheetrock. We call them drops in there, so they're part of the fire-rated ceiling assembly that's in there. Why is that important? If you go back to a couple of frames that we'd gone through on the drone, We showed you some protection that we put up there, and I think in past meetings, people asked, what are we doing for protection with the weather? We put down some peel and stick membrane there, and it helped us go ahead and dry in the surface. So this is a look down the corridor. We put the ceiling in. This attaches directly to the structure, and then we went ahead and put these drops in. And why is this important? Because this corridor gets completely chock full of mechanical stuff. So there's ductwork, fire sprinkler lines, domestic water, fire alarm, fire sprinkler. Yeah, there's a ton of stuff in there. So when we do our building information modeling, all the little computer guys get out there and do their stuff. They help place all that components in there. So all these little things that are hanging out of the ceilings that are, some of them are fire caulked already, but these are all thread rods that happen to pick up hangers that we support all the overhead utilities off of. And then in the end, you'll end up seeing a ceiling similar to this. It'll be a lay-in grid down the corridor. But this is the very, very early stages of what the structure looks like before we put the utilities in. And then next month, we'll be able to have some cool pictures of what the utilities look like in there.
Yeah, and one thing I want to add on to that is, from the outside, the reason that we wanted to show both on the same slides, from the outside, it just looks like we got framing going on, right? But when you see the inside shots, there is a ton of above ceiling stuff going on in the D building and getting going in the B and the C building as well. So,
yeah. Then on the right-hand side, we've got our first completed set of stairs that goes up through the building. So this is ground floor, but that's when we had the very first crane out here and the article came out about what we were doing. Those are the stairs we were flying in place.
it's funny how much more exciting stairs are when they're your answer for not having to go up and down ladders anymore.
Very much so.
Right. All right, and then building D.
Yeah, so this is building F.
F, I should say.
Yep, so you can see we've got the reinforcing for our concrete placement here, and then just to look down the ramp, Lance's, we got some new handrails out there that we're going to be putting around the ramp because we're going to be slowly encroaching, and our access points around the ramp down to the garage are going to get tighter just because we're building more and more space out. So Lance is excited about some new brackets we got, and he tested one out. So these yellow brackets are going to go all around 3 sides of the ramp there, so we can provide safe working access and be able to encroach closer with our construction activities.
More handrail.
Yeah, that's
And
why
what's
we
neat
put-
about that is
Yeah.
that thing can go from a 2x4 wall out to 18 inches. Because that arm adjusts for like parapet walls or bridges or whatever. So it really is a adjustable tool that they got out here for us to use. So it works a lot of places.
Yeah, I snuck that in there because the picture on Lance of the slide with all Lance's pictures earlier had him working on one of those in the middle picture, and that's the one he was working on. So pretty cool system. All right. Upcoming, you've talked about a lot of it, so we can talk about this a little bit. So you guys asked about the dates on the villas earlier. Actually, in most of these presentations, you've asked about the dates, right? So we have been giving a date of February 18th, and amongst supply chain issues, rain, many other things, we have formally changed the date to March 23rd for the A1 villa and April 14th for the A2 villa. And I know that's not the best of news, but that's what we feel is realistic with everything that has happened over the past year. If anybody has any questions on that, I'm happy to answer them, but we feel really confident in those dates. We feel like those we're past most of the hurdles now, knock on wood.
Yeah.
And we feel good that those dates will happen. Yes. Does it change the dates of building C? It was the question. The answer to that is no. So you can see these dates have stayed the same. Largely what's happened is the villas, being the first buildings out of the gate, have taken the brunt of all the stuff that we've all heard about for the past year, right? If something needed to go in there, it needed to be there first. So if something was a little bit later than we expected, that's the building that took the impact for it. So the other buildings have not been affected by those. Yes, sir. The question is, Are we still struggling trying to get labor? The answer is yes. That's that's a nationwide issue. We're doing some things with who does what trade. We're looking at those types of things. Who has the most labor? We're looking at self-performing whatever we can because we do have labor. Obviously, we have contracts with other vendors and things that we have to honor, but we're trying to attack those issues head on. But I'd be lying if I told you we didn't have labor issues. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Like, for example, what Sean was talking about, we're a concrete contractor also, right? We've got some buying power for, concrete materials. So we have a lightweight concrete topping that goes on the second floor of the villas on the breezeway side and on the back patio side. And our subcontractor could back in October said we can't get that material until after the first of the year. And I said, oh, come on, it's concrete, right? It's not that hard. And the problem is they don't have the buying power that we do. So we were able to bring to the table and offer up, says, hey, we can pull strings because we buy concrete all the time. We buy concrete daily, especially for this job. We buy it every other day out here. So we said, hey, if we buy the material for you, can you furnish the labor to place it and finish it? And the answer was yes. So that's kind of how things work. I mean, it's like, did we expect to see this curveball get thrown at us? No. But, we're not, putting concrete in January when we needed it back in November. So, yeah, there's been some different challenges, as everybody across the entire globe has been saying. This last year and a half has been a whole new change in thinking. It's no different out here for us in the field, right? I mean, it's still wood studs and nails, but how you're getting your nails and how you're flying your wood studs up there could be a different way, right? That's why we're doing more prefab, because there's not the labor to do stuff here. You can do it in a controlled environment offsite, and you can produce walls faster. So there's lots of material things. Cabinets, garage doors were another one. Metal handrail was a third one. We just got bombarded at the end of the year with a bunch of changes that we couldn't come back from. We can't put stuff in if it's not here. And a lot of manufacturing facilities were saying, we'll get it to you when we can get it to you. It's like, well,
Yeah.
how do I plan that?
The
I haven't seen that date on the calendar yet.
The
so.
handrails are a good example of something where the villas are taking the brunt of that issue, right? They said, we can't make it until after the first of the year. And that didn't matter if it was a little bit of handrail or a lot of handrail, right? So the villas were the first out of the gate. They're the ones affected by that handrail. So that's a good example.
So the question is what's kind of the elevation change between the patio and the grade outside of that, right? For first floor units, this is the man to answer it. He's the grading expert. He's my dirt guy.
They'll probably be about 3 to 4 inches step down off that patio right now. If you've driven along Royal Oaks or the road there, you'll see it looks like about 10 to 12 inches of a step down off that. There's a lot of dirt that's going to get filled in there and graded to that site wall that goes all the way around Royal Oaks, so everything will shed away from it. But the step, matter of fact, we had the civil engineer. He came out and he laid something out, but not the engineer, the survey, and he was off a little bit, and our dirt guy picked up on it, and it was like a 14-inch step down off it. Said, there's something wrong there. I mean, I wouldn't want to step off that every day. So when he came back and double-checked and redid his numbers, it came out to about 3 inches off the patio down to the landscape.
The county has a minimum requirement of how low the adjacent grade has to be to the structure, because they want to have that kind of barrier, if you will, in case there's any, rising waters around anything for any reason. I mean, we've got plenty of retentions and plenty of drainage, so please don't get nervous. But that's a code requirement to have that kind of distance between the step off of the patio onto the adjacent grade. So we can't bring them up flush.
Not a lip, no.
No, it's just this. It's a regular sidewalk right to a 4-inch drop into the decomposed granite that we'll have around. Good questions.
What else? Yes, ma'am. Yes, they are. Yep. Yeah, the question was, will the other buildings be China white for their exterior color as well? And the answer to that is yes. Yeah, pretty much all the buildings are China white on the exterior, and you can't see it here. I don't know if you could see it in one of the villas A1, but there's metal trim that's they call it medium bronze AB4, but it's sort of a chocolatey dark brown color, bronzy brown color. That's the trim. It looks really nice.
So and that's also the color of the window frames. So you'll have some metal accents throughout the building that match the window frames. So it'll be
Yeah.
more of a real dark chocolatey brown and white palette for the outside.
Good question. What else? Any? No, the only picture I left is I went back to an overhead shot in case anybody had any specific questions on sequence or where we're going next. We're like I said, we're in all of the buildings right now. So what I like about this picture and where we're at right now is you can see sort of the spaces between the buildings. You can see where the road's going to be. You see where the driveways are going to come out. They're going to come out to that valley gutter right there, right? That rolled curb, and so you can really see how the campus is going to take shape. So in here, this is sort of your courtyard area where you've got some really nice landscaping, water feature, things like that. Yes, sir.
The question is will the north road in front of the villas be a one-way only? The answer is no. It'll be a two-directional east and west for traffic.
Yeah, and right now, up there at that top corner, we've taken out where the new approach is coming in off Royal Oaks to turn in there.
Way
So
up there.
if you drive down that, you'll see that that's been demoed out right there. There's concrete guys working on new curbing and formwork there. So you'll see that start getting taken care of, along with where the gates are going in there for security, the automatic gates.
So
They'll be doing the masonry up there.
these two boxes represent the gate. This third box represents where the man-person gate is. So you got a vehicular drive gate and a pedestrian walk gate through there. So that's kind of what's going on there. That's what Lance is talking about. And when I was mentioning the north site wall, that's part of that construction that's currently happening and should be wrapping up this week.
I tried to point that out, but I'm not quite as tall as you, so I was a little
That's
bit.
what I'm here for, buddy. Ask the question, Elmer. No, this. Let me walk back over and do my Vanna White again. So this is exit only. The only person that will be able to get in there is going to be Sun City Fire Department Medical. They will have the magic button to get in there. But other than that, that is outbound only for residents. Inbound will have to be through the
Come down here and
10015
go
Royal
this
Oak
way.
Road. So one moment, this lady would like. Okay, the question is the type of roofing products that we're putting in, is it cooling? Well, you can see from the picture of the villas here, it's called a TPO roofing. It's like a rubbery type, polymer type rolled roofing product. It's white and very reflective. So cooling in the sense that the color of white itself is probably one of the most reflective elements we can put on a roof. So it's one of the more energy efficient and cooler surfaces there. Now the entire ceiling cavity of the villas and actually all buildings is completely filled from bottom of truss to bottom of deck with insulation. So there's anywhere between 18 and 30 inches of insulation in those roofs, along with 4+ inches of insulation at the low side going to 8 inches. So in some areas you could have well over 46 inches of insulation in the cavity. So it's very energy efficient. Does that answer your question?
And it definitely is a lot cooler when you're up there working on a white roof like that compared to a darker roof. You'd rather be working on that white roof up there.
It's blinding.
It's a lot cooler.
Yeah. You wear sunglasses because it's bright. But.
Yes, ma'am. Building E, perfect. Oh, who isn't interested in the bar? So the question is can I list the buildings and give them the identification, specifically building E and the bar? So I'm going to go around alphabetically because I'm a construction guy and that's the way I think. So this is A1, A2, B, C. This is all D. This is E. And this is the bar or building F. You're welcome. You're welcome. Yes, ma'am. we kind of chopped it off, but you can see those 3 pieces of gray equipment. That the dog park is up in that neck of the woods. So it's part of phase 1. So there's a walk path and kind of a synthetic green grass area up in that neck of the woods. So that's going to be where the first opening dog park is at. Oh, the second dog park. It's to the south of E. East of E is right here.
Never eat. Yeah, exactly.
All right. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, so the south cul-de-sac that you were asking about earlier is here, and that other dog park is right in this region here.
Right there, yeah.
Yeah, it's on the northwest side of the road, and the road comes through this direction. Oh, it's over in that's. I'll have to brush up on my site work over in that neck of the woods. I'll take your word for it for now. The question is will it be fenced in or open run? It will be fenced. I believe so. Both? Okay. Thanks, Gretchen. Yes. All right.
All right. Any other questions, thoughts? All right. Well, thank you guys very much. It's 10 o'clock. So
Thank you.